great to be here. Thanks for the invite back. I've loved working on these sessions before with MoEngage and Apps Flyer, and yeah, we've got some really great content today. We've got some amazing speakers, true masterminds of the industry, and yeah, so we're excited about all the sessions we got going today.
Looking forward to it. I'll leave the stage to you and for your panelists to join you. Over to you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sarab. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Scott Pugh. I'm the GM for Mixpanel here in Asia Pacific, headquartered out of Singapore for the region here. For those of you that don't know Mixpanel, we're a leading product analytics software. We really focus on helping companies understand how that they can convert, engage, and retain their users on their digital products, and really understand their digital their user journey and user life cycle. And it's really the engaged piece that we're obviously focusing on today, and we're also focusing a lot around Indonesia. We've obviously one of the most sort of like forward-thinking, mobile-first countries within our really diverse region, and so we've got some really impressive people to be able to join us and talk about what engagement means to their businesses on this session across e-commerce, and we've also got representation for media as well. So firstly, I'd like to invite Leo Haryono to the stage. Leo, do you want to join and just come in and introduce yourself, please?
Hey guys, Leo here. Thank you so much for including me. So just a quick intro about myself, CMO at JD.ID. Been working in marketing for the last 20 years, 16 years in the US, in San Francisco mostly, and 4 years in Southeast Asia, Singapore and Jakarta. You know, super passionate about marketing and customer experience, and I have experience in e-commerce, direct-to-consumer, and fintech. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I look forward to getting some of your insights and sharing them with almost 200 people that we've got on live today, Leo. So excellent. I'll invite up next Mr. Sean Kim from TIX ID, if you'd like to join us, Sean.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean. I'm co-founder and CEO of TIX ID. Those of you who are not aware what TIX ID does, we are pan-entertainment ticketing platform in Indonesia, based in Indonesia. And we mostly focus on the cinema tickets for now, but we are branching out to the event side and OTT players and etc. I've been in Indonesia for like 6-7 years for now, but before that I was working for a Korean tech company called Kakao for 7 years before joining Indonesia. Yeah.
Excellent, great to have you with us, Sean. Dian, or Gemi as you're more affectionately known, would you like to join us and introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Scott. Hi, everyone. My name is Dian Gemiano, but just simply call me Gemi. I'm the CMO of KG Media. So KG Media, or KG Media is a media group of Kompass Gramedia. We are managing TV, radio, print, and of course, digital. Kompass TV, Harian Kompass, and a lot of digital assets. We are right now approximately managing about 172 media brands in Indonesia. I'm based in Jakarta. I have agency background previously. Also, I've worked in insurance industry previously before joining the publishing group. So, but it's always been in marketing. Thanks, Scott.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Gemi. And last but not least, Divya from MoEngage, if you'd like to join us as well, please.
Oh, hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Dian, and I'm the growth leader for MoEngage here in Indonesia. I think Sarab has already gone over what we do. So thanks, Scott. Over to you.
Yeah, nice one. Great to have you join us, Divya. So look, let's kick off really with helping the audience understand like engagement means very different things to very different companies, and often depending on what industry you're in and what vertical you're in. So Leo, kicking off with you first, if you'd like to sort of give us an idea for JD.ID, exactly how you sort of what you think and how you define engagement within your business.
Right. So before I start, you know, for those who don't know JD.ID, so we are the leading e-commerce apps in Indonesia. We are part of JD.com, which is the largest e-commerce company in the world. So yeah, we also have an omni-channel, so not only just online, but also we have presence in the offline. So back to topic, how we define customer engagement. Obviously we have a lot of customers right now, millions of customers buying from us. I would say customer engagement is all about building a strong relationship with your customers, right? I think this is very much aligned with our brand mission, which is to make joy happen, which is to surprise and delight our customers. The way I see this is, or the way I define this is, for you to be able to build a strong relationship, you need to, number one, better understand your customers, where they at, what is their demographic, what is their geographic location. Because Indonesia is a huge, like there's like thousands of islands, and depends whether you're in the metro area or whether you are in all the way to the east or to the west, then the logistics is very complicated to deliver to the customers. So I think understanding the basic demographic, geographic, understanding where they are in their purchase journey, and also like where's the most channel for them to start having conversation with them. So I think those are the tricky things that I think is important.
Yeah, I understand the sort of for an e-commerce company in Indonesia, it covers such a like vast country, so many islands, and I'm interested though, just from like to dig a little deeper into it, Leo, like what you actually define as your sort of core metric for customer engagement. Is there a specific metric? We often see in kind of e-commerce, it's like your weekly active buyers, like how many purchases per weekly active buyer. For you guys at JD.ID, is there a specific metric that you drive the team towards when it comes to customer engagement?
Right. So like any typical e-commerce, obviously the final metrics that we all aim for is to drive GMV, gross merchandise value, or sales. So that is just the quants. But for the sales to happen, we also break down into conversion metrics. On the customer engagement, it's all about GMV per customer, sales per customers, which is essentially a product of how many customers you have, and also what is their lifetime value for each of the customers to grow your GMV. So there's and as you keep zooming in to that, LTV is actually a product of combination of how often do they come back and purchase from you. So it's order frequency, and every time they purchase from you, what is their basket size or average order value. So I think those are what we look at on the conversion level, on more like a financial metrics. For the engagement metrics though, we are looking at just a typical that you see in Google Analytics. How many times do they spend on your app? How many pages do they see in the session? What is their login rate, activation rate, and also like what is their bounce rate? So I think those are the two things that we look at. In addition to that, I think it's also important, instead of looking at the quants, also look at the qualitative metrics. So like NPS score. Those are the things that you cannot measure. Those are the things that you cannot chart and create a trends, but it's very important. And also in addition, we're also looking at how is the customer sentiments, comments on our social media accounts, on our Twitter, on our Facebook. So I think those are some of the things that we're also looking at as a way to measure overall engagement level.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's interesting. I mean, Gemi, moving across to you. I mean, with working in the media industry, many different platforms, as you mentioned, TV, audio, your print media within Kompass, but then also like obviously with a massive digital transformation that's been affecting the industry over the last few years. Talk to us a little bit about how you define customer engagement within your business.
Okay, so I think for media company, consumer engagement is always been there, because we are we are interacting with our readers every single day, every single time. But I think the awareness of the value of consumer engagement for us is just like maybe in the past 5 years, okay? Because we took it for granted previously. Yes, there's a lot of readers, we have a lot of viewers, but after we, I think I remember we did a research, and we for especially for media, for digital media, we find that we have 3 different audience: the flyby, the moderate, and the loyals. So and we found out that the loyals actually give us more revenue in terms of LTV. So then we found that the value of customer engagement, because customer engagement drive a lot of loyals. loyalty to all of our media. So for us, it's the quality of interaction, it's the length of stay in our platforms, and specifically for media, for digital media, the number of content that they consume is really matter. So because our business model, business model is defined by how many pages that our audience are consuming. So number of pages is really important, but again, the quality of interaction is also really important. And remember, media company we have to serve two kind of customer, right? We have audience and we also have advertisers. So we have different approach for both kind of customer in terms of engagement. I think obviously for advertiser, it's more to the quality of services, the quality of advertising product that we have to create. The usage of technology, but it also depends on the quality of consumer engagement, audience engagement also, because advertiser also look for that metrics when they are advertised with us. Do you have good engagement with your audience? What do you do to make your audience engage, especially with this sponsored content? The engagement is really, really important, because that's what generate money for us.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, bucketing your audience into specific cohorts, your your flybys, I think it was your median and your loyal viewers. And I suppose you to be able to define those different cohorts, you'll look at specific metrics for each. Yes. So certain amount of articles read in 1 week, and what is the kind of metric you define for your loyal users?
It's basically the flyby. I think we look for the frequency of visiting our site or our platform. Yep. Could be in daily basis, could be in weekly basis, and also we look at the source of visit. So for example, if they came from social media and they came from Google search, mostly they will be flyby. They're not searching for our brand. They're just searching for content, and because we have a good SEO, then we landed in our site. So mostly flyby, the frequency, maybe once in a week. And then the medium or the moderate maybe in 3 times a week, and then the loyal is every day they're visiting us, and it's also correlated with the source of the visit that we found that all the direct visit, mostly loyal visit, obviously. So we also have to push the brand building, brand development, in the sense that because brand awareness is really important to build loyalty. We also have to push that metrics to push more people to have a direct visit, interaction with us. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I mean, one of my questions was going to be how do you affect those numbers, and building brand, and you can actually see sort of either specific campaigns that you run and how they impact each of your loyal, they impact your loyal cohort of users. But yeah, appreciate that, Gemi. Thanks very much. And Sean, you kind of come from a slightly different perspective when it comes to engagement, because obviously as a booking platform, primarily for cinemas, it's almost it's not as if you're going to be booking to go to cinema every single day. So how would you in sort of a product like yours define customer engagement?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I think you define our business quite clearly. So I know that JD.ID and Kompass Media is very big companies, and also I think how we engage our users is a bit slightly different, because our service is not a daily requirement service. I can buy my whatever I need from JD.ID every single day. My wife does it every day. I can read newspapers on Kompass Media every day, but people don't use TIX ID every day. They use it once a month or once every 2-3 months. Especially during pandemic, it's more difficult. So our key is that about customer engagement is that it's when your customers well enough that you feel quite comfortable to engage with customers with the right product that they're interested, and to see if they can actually become our core users. And for us, I think is one thing is that the key is that we don't overspam with contents to our users. And also the thing is that TIX ID, we are actually not just representing our product, we are actually representing the cinemas nationwide. And many of these cinemas actually have no idea who their customers are, because most of the customers come to the cinemas, buy tickets and watch movie, and they go away. And they have no idea if they will ever come back, or who the demographics are. Where we don't know if that customer watched a similar type of movie or totally different types of movies. So our job is that we try to understand our customers' behavior on our app as much as possible to see what they're interested in and when they're interested in, and try to engage them carefully one at a time.
Yeah, and just I suppose a follow on to that, like how do you then think about the engagement, like from once you sort of understand their behaviors a little bit more? Talk us a little bit about your workflow to be able to sort of create a personalized experience, as Saurabh had discussed before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for us, I think it's also quite similar in terms of like we also consider like DAUs and MAUs and churn rates as important like metrics for us. But that the movies, it come and goes, and there's a season about movies, and people are interested in these movies, and sometimes they're not. So we always look at work with movie producers and cinemas very carefully, and help them with what sort of movies might work in this type of seasons and might not.
Yeah, I personally am quite excited about the James Bond movie. I'm excited to go and see that one soon. I'm sure you've seen a huge spike in activity on your app for people wanting to get out and see Daniel Craig in his last effort.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we're also quite excited about all the blockbuster movies are coming out again.
Yeah, excellent. Divya, I'm going to go to you. I mean, you've been working in the Indonesia market for many years. I'm interested to hear your perspective as you see across a lot of the customers you work with. What have you seen as some of the biggest trends within customer engagement, and how companies sort of define and look at it?
Right, thanks, Scott. So I think essentially, right, I mean, when we talk about customer engagement, it's the relationship between the brand and the consumer, right? That goes way beyond just a transaction, right? Like analyzing those users and understanding where they are in the funnel, right? Like whether they're in the awareness stage, where they're in the discovery stage, or in the loyalty stage. So understanding that and where they are in the funnel, and then sending out the right engagement, and sort of correcting and adopting the engagement based on where they are in the funnel. I think that is very essential, and that's what we see on based on our customers and what they do, right? So I think, and obviously, as Leo and Gemi and both Sean said, right, at the end of the day, what everyone's looking for is customer loyalty and retention, right? Like how often users come back, and the number of users that actually come back. So I think, when we talk about customers who are highly engaged, they obviously bring in, more loyalty, more awareness, and more customer satisfaction, right? And in terms of the metrics, when we talk about the metrics, right? So we've seen a whole different sort of metrics, right? I mean, when you talk to e-commerce, it's mostly like sales. When your sales and loyalty, same thing as everyone here mentioned. But also, like it's kind of like the purchase frequency, repeat or transaction frequency. Like when you talk to fintech customers, it's more about coming back is one thing, but do they actually apply for the loan, for example, right? So it really differs based on the industry, and it's pretty interesting to see that at the end of the day, everyone is looking for this loyalty and the lifetime, the LTV and the retention.
Yeah, that's a really good insight there, Divya. And I suppose what I'd like to hear from you, Leo, is a little bit more around from an e-commerce perspective. There is a few spikes in seasons, very seasonal business, and the engagement is not like it's not linear. There's so it will be interesting to hear from you about how you kind of take advantage, or like any things you've done either within product or from a campaign wise to be able to take advantage of those spikes to be able to increase engagement on the long term.
Right. So for those who are not aware, so I think typically in e-commerce, I think our seasonality usually is the last week of the month when everybody got their paycheck. It's a payday week, and I think recently the last year or two, everybody now doing double dates. So 7/7, 8/8, 9/9, and now my team is all gearing up for 10/10 in the next 3 days. So I think I would say those are the two big moments in the month that were usually where the demand, a lot of demand of people looking to shop and looking to find great deals. So let me share with you a couple of examples. I would say maybe during the last two mega shopping campaigns, which is our double date, our 8/8, 9/9. I think we are going all out so we are seeing a super strong correlation between customer engagement that translates into like orders and sales. I think what we did was we are going all out in our CRM, based on what they purchased before, based on their category propensity, category relevance, and their propensity to convert. Also in paid, also in social media to drive all the traffic to our app. And at the same time, and then you can literally see that there's like a direct impact of when you see increase in traffic, there's a direct impact, which is a top of funnel. There's a direct impact to all the middle funnel and the bottom of funnel. So you see improved activation, login on our site, add to cart, and ultimately orders being placed and being delivered. So I think that's one that we see. The second I will share with you is, between the qualitative data and also some of the quantitative data on the business growth. So in the past, we used to have like lower score, NPS score on some of our logistic issues. And as we improve that, as we improve the same day delivery rate, we see that the NPS go down. And we also see our order cancellation due to order being late also decrease a lot. So I think sometimes you'll be surprised, even some of the qualitative data, there's a lot of strong correlation between what the customer is saying with the business results.
Cool. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leo. So just moving over to you, Sean. We actually had a really interesting question in the panel just around when it comes to customer engagement. Obviously, we're collecting a lot of data on our individual users, and I'm just wondering, and Stuart Kumar in the questions here was asking if there are any concerns, if any. I think it probably comes from when you talked about how you partner with a lot of the cinemas, is thinking about that first party data and collecting and use of that data in serving predictions and anticipation prediction models and recommendation models.
Basically, I read the question. I think it's a good question. There could have been a I don't want to make any misunderstanding about the privacies, right? And how we work with the producers or cinemas is not that we are actually delivering any data of customer data to our partners or cinemas or producers. Of course, that would be might be illegal for our user policies. But what we do is that we know what movies are coming out in every season and where it's releasing. And based on the data, what previous sales from our users, we can actually make recommendations in our app, like in-app announcements, push notifications, or just like a extensive articles about those movies to make interesting go up. Or otherwise is what we also do is that we work with smaller movie producers who producing movies there has zero awareness from the audience, that if the audience has no idea what these new movies are coming out, we will work with the producers to create interesting content and make these content to be attractive to the customers. So in the end, the customers have interest in these new movies. That there are even local movies that's interesting enough besides Hollywood blockbusters like Marvels.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And look, we had actually another interesting question from Arisa. We're actually looking for advice from you, being masterminds on our panel here. We've got obviously representation from e-commerce and from media, but it's actually from a health tech company, a B2B health tech company, where they've got many clients, and actually they help individuals with mental health. And they're actually seeing that they're having a big problem is the utility rate of engagement and activation is quite low. Obviously there's a lot of challenge with people at the moment being able to, like, mental health has got a lot of awareness at the moment, and it's not need, but getting that point to sort of like activation and getting the engagement seems to be a challenge for Arisa's business. Any advice like on like how they could like improve their product, improve the experience, to be able to increase in engagement in this example?
Yep, I think I can take that. So, I mean, when we talk about, where awareness is missing, right? I think personalization is an angle where you can take. So, it's essential to understand where, as I mentioned, like where your users are. Like right now, we have so many apps. We are consumers of a lot of businesses. Everyone's trying to reach out to us, right? Like, but is your content relevant? Is your content, is the frequency right? Is the timing correct? So I think understanding that particular user, like for example, if I'm looking at a pair of shoes, but if I get a t-shirt that's marketed to me, I would rather not open that, right? For example, I would not be engaged. So I think, personalization is something that, now for brands is a must-have. Like maybe some time ago it's a nice-to-have, but I think right now it's what they expect out of brands as well. Like consumers expect brands to, sort of understand, who they are, what kind of, where they are in the mental state, in this case, an example, right? So I think understanding them in a personal level and then, engaging in a way more personalized manner, I think that's an area that maybe you can try.
Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation, Dian. One thing I'd say, we at Mixpanel use a company called Modern Health, which offers this kind of it offers both coaching but meditation, and I think what they do really well in their product is they actually find the specific hook, the specific thing, the action that creates that ongoing engagement. And within their product, it's a lot around meditation, just introduction to meditation. And then once people start getting value from one part of the product, then they expand to actually take advantage of the coaching sessions. And so within both the web and the app, they put front and center the highest value point, which creates that ongoing engagement on the platform. Gemi, I suppose it would be quite good going to you actually, just in terms from like being a content platform, you must actually be in a position where you understand the content that creates the most virality or the most engagement on the platform. How do you kind of think about that in terms of like driving a content strategy, or being able to get that sort of like one hook in to be able to create those loyal customers?
Right. It's actually a non-stop battlefield for media company, because in one side we have to think about the principle of journalism, and the other side is we have to think how can we engage more to our readers. And to engage more to our readers, of course, we have to serve what they want and what they like in terms of content. Of course, we have Google Analytics, we have other tools to see what kind of content that this particular cohort like. And every journalist in our media have each journalist have their own screen to see their content performance in terms of page view, and is it increasing, is it decreasing, and they constantly improving that, either to the title, they're working on the title, they're removing the tag, and so on and so forth. But also that's it's kind of paradox that how we see it, because the popular content is actually not aligned with the what so-called the quality of journalistic content, right? Because this is how we group that content. So this is the important content, and this is the popular content, and we sort of making it balance between both, because the important content, of course, is very important. People have to know that, but Indonesian people don't really like that kind of content, politics, social, economy. They're more like to entertainment, lifestyle, and so on and so forth. So yes, we are looking at the performance of each content in every single day, and we're doing that by each journalist looking at that, and we are monitoring the management monitoring every week. For example, since the pandemic, we have two particular vertical that we have previously is not performing well. It's health and education. It's just suddenly it's grown, and then we invest more in that vertical. We add more journalists, we add more content creator, we produce advertising product in that area, and we monitoring every day. But also we found out that while the health and education is rising up, the female also rising up, because Kompass Gramedia is known for male-driven media, and since the pandemic, we now maybe 60% female. So I think it's interesting to see that in granular, in daily and weekly basis, to see what kind of content that really push the engagement with the audience, and you cannot predict actually, because we are in news industry. There's always breaking news, but we are now focusing on the what we call long-term content, or what is that? So we have a breaking news type of content, but also we see that, for example, the science, the health content, it's and also maybe more deeper and long-term content. Right now they have a low performance, but if you stretch it for 1 year, they actually have longer performance lifetime. So we are now pushing more to, instead of breaking news type of content, virality, that kind of stuff, because for us that's kind of easy to create. We are now focusing on more to longer lifetime content like science or health, or because we see that if you stretch for 1 year instead of in daily basis, the engagement, we see that kind of content of also delivering better revenue in terms of monetization. So it's really dynamic in media. So we always see the trend, we follow the trend, but we also looking at signal, what kind of content that engage more, and we stretch the timeline, and we chop down every day. So you will see, once you do more granular data analysis, you see many opportunities that we can explore.
Yeah, I love the data-driven approach. Yeah, it's what we're all about here at Mixpanel, and so I think that's a really good example. People come for the popular content, but they stay for the quality content, and I think that's it's a really interesting strategy. We had another question in the Q&A. Once again from Stuart Kumar, and actually really interesting, and I think it's extremely relevant to engagement, is more talking about the use of AI and algorithms to be able to or machine learning when it comes to driving, like to actually doing like sort of customized content or recommendation engine for your audience. And I think this is probably a really good question for you, Leo, actually, is just the importance of like building those, whether it's the building that kind of capability within the business, whether building in-house or whether you use like external tool. I mean, I can imagine for a company like JD.ID, where you're sitting on like mountains and mountains of SKUs and data, and being able to sort of to build that in-house is pretty important.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things. I think overall, I think AI is inevitable. I think we need AI for us to scale this. I think that the marketing of customer engagement has transformed from one way from the brand to the customers into maybe from the customer back to the brand. So I think the data with the AI now will enable us to react faster. Our campaign is not done based on the calendar, but our campaign may be triggered based on certain activity from the user, certain filters and certain segments that we created. So a lot more triggers. So I think those are all good things. Those are all in a way to provide a relevant experience to the customers, whether it's on the content or whether it's on the timing.
Yeah, excellent, Leo. Look, really enjoyed the session. We've got some we've got another 2 great sessions coming up, and Ronan's going to be taking over in just a moment. But yeah, very interesting. I suppose best way to reach out to you guys to be able to, if people want to ask any more questions, I guess LinkedIn or Twitter will be they can find you there. But thank you all for contributing to today's session.